I will start in about 1 minute just to let more people on. We have 90 people already. Okay, we will get started. Welcome, colleagues and friends. My name is Bob Stefanski from the World Meteorological Organization, and welcome to the Integrated Drought Management Program Virtual Exchange. Again, IDMP is co-organized by WMO and Global Water Partnership with many other partners. So today's hour-and-a-half session is on next generation drought monitoring and early warning systems. Next slide, please. And we're very excited to have co-host Sabina Bokal from Global Water Partnership. And also we have presentations of 3 drought monitors and drought early warning systems by Beatrice Giovianzo from WMO. And you can see the speakers here. Very happy to have Fabio Lusa from the Federal Office for the Environment of Switzerland talking about the Swiss platform. Eduardo Martins from Brazil, from FUSEME, the Met Service from Northeastern Brazil on the Brazil monitoring platform. And Jason Kinwa from EGAD, the East African Climate Prediction and Application Center. And then we have a marketplace where we have a 3-minute really roundtable of other initiatives that we thought partners would be useful to share with people. Next slide. So that was just an introduction to the meeting. We always introduce with a brief overview, no more than 5 minutes, of what's going on within the IDMP community. And we are going to organize a sort of small biannual meeting with the Associated Program of Flood Management and IDMP, the sister programs on flood and drought, at the Global Platform for DRR, Disaster Risk Reduction. That's happening in Geneva next week. And invites will soon be shared. This is a virtual meeting between 12:45 and 2:15. We will also the schedule for 2025, the tentative schedule, a joint IDMP FAO virtual exchange on gender equality and social inclusion. This is the outcome of a project we were doing with FAO the last 2 or 3 years. And tentatively that date is the 24th of June. Again, we will send more information soon. Also, there's some other meetings going on in the community that we might have an update meeting in October. And then we are, again, suggesting some virtual exchanges in September and December of this year with topics and suggestions welcome. One thing that we will advertise and tell our partners and colleagues, typically, as you may be aware, we've had our annual meetings around the August-September timeframe of each year, linked to the World Water Week. We're sort of decoupling from that cycle. And we want to start sort of the beginning of the year, February, March, also with our colleagues from the Flood Management Program. So we'll provide you more information soon. We actually did do a survey, and it was basically half and half. Half the colleagues wanted to keep it August, September, and the other half said February, March. So we thought it might be easier to do it in the early part of the year because the fall of the year becomes very, very crowded with meetings. Next slide, please. We've just launched, and you can see the QR code, publication, baseline assessment of drought impact monitoring, excuse me. We had very few experts from around the world, and this presents a comprehensive global overview of current drought impact monitoring practices and some case studies, good practices, and lays the groundwork for operational guidelines to support countries in establishing or refining their own monitoring systems. Next slide. We're also working, this is actually, I believe, live mapping all the different drought products at a national and regional level. This is the current status of the national chart. And you can see fairly good coverage. When we add the regional one, actually most of the world is covered. Again, this is something that's sort of a desk survey. We had a consultant last year do this. Again, it doesn't imply nothing exists. It's just that we may not be aware. And actually, we would ask you as colleagues, if we are missing something, please let us know, either in the chat or via email or on the website, and we will update our information. So thank you on that. Next slide, please. We're also working on the World Drought Legislation Repository and Tools for the assessment and drafting of drought legislation. We were working with the World Bank on this. We again had a consultant look at all the different countries' sort of drought laws and legislation. So the objective of this publication is just to have a database of these various legislations from various sectors, provide some definitions, and provide a rapid legal assessment tool to guide the process of developing this, and also dividing a template. So we're currently finalizing this, and will be shared for the community for review very soon. Next slide. And we will also be working a companion publication on guidelines on drought impact data collection that should be out fairly soon. Again, we've had a number of publications and limited human resources, so we're trying to get these done as soon as possible. Next slide. And I should add, I believe I'm going to Sabina next, but before I move on, all these slides will be available online, so you can pursue them at your own interest. Sabina, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Bob. Hello also from my side. To continue with this quick update from the IDMP, we recently launched the third time the online course Monitoring and Early Warning, which was very successful in the first two rounds. This time the course is open till November. It's online and free, available in English and in French. So you are more than welcome to join the course. The course structure is basically focusing on a key drought concept, and then introducing the drought indices indicator, and also some practical applications of drought monitoring and forecasting tools. Next. So together with FAO, we developed this team on integrating gender equality and social inclusion in national drought management planning. One thing that was published a few weeks ago is this publication on mainstreaming gender in national drought plans, national action plans, and national policies. It presents really a clear and simple step-by-step method to integrate GESI into drought plan and policies, and also provides some tools, best practices, recommendations to really support this inclusive drought management and response. Next. And the second thing related to this topic, we also prepared an online course, which is available online, free, and it provides, again, these practical tools to integrate GESI into national drought planning. It's designed for policymakers, technicians, practitioners, and it includes this step-by-step guide to applying GESI across all phases, all these 10 steps of drought management planning. Next. And last but not least, our IDMP community of practice, which is growing, which is still growing. Currently, we have 253 members. Just recently, we moved to a new platform, which gives us more interactive space and wider network. This is on WMO Water and Climate Communities. The existing members can log in with existing credentials, and of course, all who are not yet members, you are welcome to join. Recent, let's say, focus area in the community is also the drought monitoring platforms, the same as today's virtual exchange. And you are also welcome to join our discussion there and share your experiences or cases, as already mentioned, of different drought monitoring platforms. And that would be all from our side. Thank you. And now I give a word to Beatrice to continue.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Sabina, and thanks everyone for joining us. Before moving forward with the next section about the presentations, we would like to share with you a little poll, just for you to answer a quick question. I will share. I see Valentin already shared the link in the chat, but you can also see the question on the screen. The question is, which next generation drought monitoring technique are you most interested in learning more about? You can join the poll either by clicking the link or scanning the code. We will give you now just 30 seconds to answer, but we will show the final results at the end of the meeting, so you'll have more time to connect during the next minutes. So in the meantime, I would like to start introducing the speakers of the next section. We will have first Fabia Husler, Scientific Officer at the Federal Office of the Environment of Switzerland, who will present on the Swiss Early Detection and Warning System for Drought. We will have Eduardo Martins, President of the Institute for the Research of Meteorology, Water Resources and Environment of Brazil, who's going to present on Brazil Drought Monitoring Platform. And finally, we'll have Jason Quinoa, lead developer and data officer at ECPAC, who will present on the regional drought monitoring and early warning system of East Africa. So I think I will now give the floor to Fabia. You can share questions in the chat in case you have questions for the speakers, or you can raise your hand at the end of the presentations. So there will be a Q&A session. Thanks, Fabia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Beatrice, for the introduction, and welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to present our very new drought monitor here, and also I'm keen to learn on all the other presentations after me. So I would like to present you the Swiss Early Detection and Warning System for Drought that has been going live just 1 month now, and we're collecting first experiences in the operational in the operational phase of this warning system. Next slide, please. So I think many of you ask yourself, drought in Switzerland. This is kind of not very familiar, as Switzerland is rather known as the water castle of Europe. But yes, there is drought in Switzerland, and actually it has been classified among the top 10 risks. Next slide, among the top 10 risks in terms of frequency and aggregated damage. You can push once more. Yes, exactly. So go one back, please. Yes, thank you. So in contrast to severe weather, where we have a frequency of occurrence every 25 years, sorry, this is a wrong number. It must be a bit quite more often, but only at a lower damage impact. And drought is recently has been estimated to occur every 24 years and cause a damage of about 7 billion Swiss francs. Next slide. Thank you. So as drought is also increasing, drought hazard is also increasing in Switzerland, the Federal Council has decided in 2022 to establish such a national drought monitoring system. And we have been working for the last 2 years quite hard and quite fast to build up a first basic system, a so-called minimum viable product. So this really is lays the basis and will be improved until as for now, for the year 2031, but by then it will be like a really comprehensive system, including also many more stakeholder needs that we could include within the last 2 years. Of course, we didn't start with zero, so there was a scientific platform already. Maybe some of you know that it was called Drought.ch, but it was run by a research institution. So what we did now, we put it on a national level, and we made it fully operational. This is a collaboration. If you can go to the next slide. This is a collaboration between 3 different federal offices. One is the one I'm working at, the Federal Office of Environment, but we also have Meteo Suisse, of course, on board, and we also have Swiss Topo, which is the Federal Office for Topography on board, which contributes the satellite-based monitoring to the system. Next slide, please. So I think I don't have to go too much in detail here, but I mean, what is actually a drought? This is what we were asking ourselves in the beginning. Usually it is a lack of water that actually propagates through different systems, but in the end, it also enhances risk for cascading effects such as forest fire, heat, heavy precip with surface runoff, and for example, landslides. This is the case for Switzerland at least. And it was a very slow onset process in contrast to all other natural hazards that we are dealing with here in Switzerland, and the impacts, of course, increase over time. And this is really hard to be everything that needs to be considered also when building up that system. Next slide. So our system is based on 4 core pillars, let's say. One is the monitoring. Another thing is the forecasting of how the drought situation will be within the next 4 weeks. We do also official warnings. This is maybe quite new for in terms of also what at the international level is done. It's really an official warning on the federal level, and we also provide, of course, a lot of information that kind of sensibilizes also people for the problematic of drought. There's a whole bunch of data going in. I think as for every other drought systems, we use models and predict forecasts. We use all the existing measurement networks. We're also about to build up a soil moisture measurement network. We include satellite data, but we also include information from the cantons and from the from impacts and measures that need to be taken within an actual situation. And we also include weekly briefings from experts from Meteo Suisse and the Federal Office for Environment that actually do they check the situation every week, and in case it's really there is a high risk of drought, they also issue these official warnings. So these 4 pillars are then, everything is digested. And finally, if you go to the next slide, what is actually visible for the user is on the one hand side, this web-based drought information platform, where you have really a lot of information on all the different influencing factors as well. And on the other hand side, you also have these official warnings that come across the official warning channels, such as other natural hazards. You can go one more, and now there is a link to a short teaser video about the system that we did for the go live. You can try if it works. If not, we continue with the presentation. It should be in English, and it's about a bit more than 1 minute. This is how the system gives you kind of an overview of the system, and after that I will go into some details.
The risk of drought is increasing, even in Switzerland. Drought is a natural hazard that can have serious impacts on the economy, society, and the environment. That's why the federal government has set up a national system for early detection and warnings. This system enables proactive action when drought conditions develop. It provides daily updated data on rainfall, soil moisture, rivers and lakes, and groundwater, including current measurements, forecasts, and historical data for each region. Satellite images show where plants and forests are stressed. The warnings are issued using a traffic light system to take into account the slow development of droughts. They help authorities keep track of the situation and plan ahead. The system is designed for everyone affected by drought: cantonal and local authorities, the public, and sectors such as drinking water supply, farming, hydropower, shipping, and nature conservation. All drought-related information is available in one place, clearly structured and standardized. This simplifies coordination across cantonal borders and between different sectors. Stay informed at www.drought.admin.ch.
Thanks a lot. That has worked wonderfully. So you can go back to the slides, please. So now this was in a nutshell, and I think today I do not have the opportunity to go too much into detail, but as said, this is live. You can go and explore yourself. We did a lot of work, or we had a lot of discussions about the design of the system. We did some surveys, and we finally used that user-centered design. I mean, on the one hand side, when we would have worked, we would have maybe chosen a science-driven design where you have all these known indicators for whole Switzerland, and you could just go through them. But what we found out is that people really, they're so much interested in their region. They want to have all the information about their region in one place. So this is how we ended up with. You can choose one region. You can see there what is the current situation. You can also compare between years back to 1991. And also you can see, of course, the full time series for this, for this time span. Next slide, please. I give you a quick overview on how such, we call it a regional page, how that looks like. So you can click on one of the regions, and on the top, what you see in this greenish brownish colors is this so-called CDI. We call it the Combined Drought Indicator. I will explain in a minute how we calculate that. It gives you kind of a good overview on the situation. And then you have all the, if you go to the next slide, or if you push the button once more, it will appear what is all, what you can see all on that page. You can see information on precipitation, the last 6 months and the next 4 weeks forecast. You can see about precipitation, discharge, river runoff, and water levels in lakes and rivers. You can get information on the actual soil moisture, on groundwater, but also on vegetation condition. And this is also planned to be expanded to maybe further data if available. You can also go to an annual comparison. On the next slide, there is one example. Yeah, here you can actually choose which year you want to compare with. Maybe you have a year when you remember that there was a major drought in your region, and you can compare how the actual situation is in terms of comparison to other events. But yeah, I think the easiest, if you go and explore yourself, then you can see a lot more information. If you go to the next slide, we also include information on total precipitation. Of course, all the all the known indicators such as the SPI. You can see the rivers, the river discharges. You can get information on the actual state of groundwater levels and spring discharges. The modeled soil moisture for the moment, as we do not have enough measurements to cover the full country, and then also about vegetation, current vegetation health derived from satellite imagery. The whole system is actually based, if you go to the next slide, on this so-called combined drought indicators. And I know that we're not the only ones using that term CDI. It is actually used for many different indicators. As we define it, it is actually made up of different indicators that describe the meteorological, the hydrological, and also the agricultural drought. We use known scientifically based indicators such as the SPI over different time periods, use runoff and soil moisture, and all that we combine to this what we call the combined drought indicator. And this is automatically derived for also for the next 4 weeks into the future, so you can see how the situation actually evolves. This is done for all the 38 warning regions. And this leads me to how we do warnings. We base the warnings actually on this combined drought indicator. If you go to the next slide, there is this weekly judgment by experts, and they have a look at the indicator, at this combined drought indicator. They look how it will evolve within the next 4 weeks, and according to that, and according to some fixed criteria we have defined before on intensity and frequency of the CDI, they issue a warning at a level green, of course, if no danger, a level yellow if there is kind of a moderate risk. This is rather thought for people that are in charge, or for decision makers, that we call it a wake-up call, that they closely monitor the situation for the next few weeks. And then we really have the level red, where we expect rather far-reaching impacts, and which really is a very exceptional situation. And there, I mean, at the federal level, we are not the ones that take measures, but we can recommend people to follow the instructions from the local authorities that actually are in charge of the measures. And it gives some visibility also for what is going on for the exceptional situation. Next slide, please. So we also tested the system as far as we could, because time was very limited. But this is a graph from 2018, where we had a major drought. And you can see that in blue, there is a number of media articles that have been issued on the subject of drought. And you can see in red the number of visits on this earlier scientific drought CH platform from a scientific or from a research institution. And you can see that at least about 4 weeks in advance, when nobody was talking about, we would have been able to issue a warning level 2, and at the peak of the event we would have issued a level 4, so that everyone would have been alert. Next slide. There is just one more slide that I would also like to mention, that we're within this federal drought program. We are also building up a soil moisture measuring network so Meteo Suisse is in charge of building that up. We also include all the measurements that are already done, but we try to homogenize and centralize all the data on soil moisture within one single place, and from there we can also start doing modeling and having a comprehensive quality control set of in situ soil moisture data for the whole of Switzerland. So this is to come within the next few years. This leads me to my last slide, which I would like to summarize my presentation by taking home by some take-home messages. We have that new operational early detection and warning system, and we are very glad and happy to get feedback on that. We try at best possible to take into account all the different facets of droughts. So yeah, I wrote, however, challenging, and I think the reality check is still to come. Now, this is the first summer that we're in operation, and I think there's still a lot to improve, and we will see how it works. It has been co-designed with users. I think that was a very important step that we have done, as we have learned a lot about how the users think and what the users could actually, or how the information needs to be prepared in order for them to be used. And of course, this is only a first pillar of an integrated drought management strategy, as in every place on the world. Basically, it gives you just the scientific basis for decision making. And as I said, we will continuously improve and also further develop the system. Within the next years, we will include more satellite data. We will include soil moisture monitoring network, but also, for example, the water temperature forecasts, or more data on groundwater, and also on impacts of drought. And with that, I'm at the end of my presentation. And I think there was one last slide thanking all the people that were involved in setting that up and will still be involved in further development. Thank you very much. And if you have any feedback or questions, feel free to ask them. So you can reach the platform under www.drought.admin.ch if you want to have a look yourself. Thank you very much. Back to Beatrice.
Thank you so much, Fabio, for the very interesting presentation. Just would like to remind you that all the presentations will be available online, and I'm seeing that some of you are adding questions in the chat. If we will have time at the end of the presentation, there will be a small Q&A session. In the meantime, maybe Fabio, you want to take the question in the chat, and I would like to pass the floor now to Eduardo Martinez. Eduardo, the floor is yours.
Okay, I will share my screen. Okay, thanks for the invite, Valentin. It's very nice to be here and share a little bit of our history on drought management in Brazil. It's quite a recent one. We starting in 2012, in the beginning of a multi-year drought that we start here in northeast of Brazil. So just to give an idea, we
Eduardo,
oh yeah.
could you make it in full screen mode? Right now it's in
Oh, sorry.
presenter mode.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we start the work with the support of the World Bank and consultants from Nebraska Drought Mitigation Center in Conagua. It was a non-lower technical assistant. We had really good support and some insights on how to implement the drought monitoring system. And not only that, we start working on the three pillars of drought policy: monitoring, forecasting, early warning systems, vulnerability, resilience and impact assessment, and response and planning. So in terms of Brazil, we couldn't start for the whole country. It was really a big challenge in the sense that we have quite different biomes to address different nature of drought impacts. So it would be quite challenging. So we start from working with Northeast region and setting up the network of the drought monitoring system in the same basis of the network of the climate outlook forums. And this really provide some speed to the process of implementation of the drought monitoring. So we already have regular meetings and people were really familiar with the data networks, and they were willing to share the whole data. And for now, we start from there and move to extensions to other regions of the countries that I will talk a little bit later. So one of the pillars that we didn't work so well so far was the vulnerability, resilience, and impact assessment. We are addressing this for some time, but we still, I think we have a lot of grounds to cover to have a good product on that. And the drought contingency planning has been really the focus of our group right now. So I'm talking not only on behalf of SEMI here, it is a state institution, but also that collaborates a lot with the national institution like the National Water Agency and the universities of the country in order to improve the drought monitoring and also the response planning for droughts. Okay, so one of the centers that we are trying to set up right now is the CEPAS, is a statistics center on policy for water and droughts, and the center is encompasses 21 labs of the Federal University of Ceará, and right now we are doing a lot of planning, response planning for droughts, in order to facilitate the response of those on the ground. And one of the difference, I will not talk a little bit, I will not talk much about indicators, because basically the drought monitoring systems are all about the same indicators, can vary in an indicator or another, but this is not the most important part of me, of the system for me. So we starting try to set up good concept grounds for the people of the states, because we have different backgrounds, we have different capacities in the states of the country. So we decided that the conceptual base will be really important to have a good product at the end. So our map is a monthly based map, okay? It's based in the concept of the US drought monitoring. We had a lot of discussions with people from Nebraska and Conagua. And the idea was what we have to get from them and adapt for us here in Brazil. And not in Brazil, we start in Northeast. And then we started from 9 states in 2014 with the help and support of the World Bank, to the whole country in January of 2024. So 27 states. We are now covering the whole country. And in 2020, the National Water Agency launched the Drought Monitor program that funds the whole operation, the monthly meetings, the capacity building that is really occurs all the year long for the states, because there are some states that the teams change a lot. So the capacity building is really a need for the program. And we count with ANA, the National Water Agency, to fund these operations. And we start with the climate outlook networks, and then we start adding to the system agriculture secretaries, agriculture extensionists, and the water agencies, water utilities, as also involved in the drought monitoring of the systems. And now we are improving the validation process. We are getting information from the ground in order to validate our products. And this is really what differentiates our system from automatic ones, right? We count on people that are experienced droughts and those that are responding to it. So right now we have about 60 state institutions involved in the whole country. They meet every month to discuss, to analyze the data. And with this after the discussion, we have a map for all regions of Brazil, the 5 regions of Brazil. And we have a final meeting to address the inconsistency, the probable inconsistency that you have in the borders between the different regions, okay? So this is a little bit of the history of the drought monitoring. We started in August 2014, there was the first map. In September of 2014, we launched a cooperation agreement between the Ministry of Interior, the National Water Agency, and FUNSEMI. In March of 2016, we have the official launch. In February 2017, we have a cooperation agreement between the National Water Agency and my university, the Federal University of Ceará. And right now, the CEPAS, the center that I mentioned earlier, he will be the one in charge of the drought monitor. And from 2018, when really the World Bank passed the ball to us and to the National Water Agency, from 2018 up to January 2024, we work mainly in the expansion to the whole country of the drought monitoring system. Why it took us so long? Well, we completed 10 years last year. Well, we believe that we have to engage people, we have to engage institutions, and this takes time. So now we have a group of people, group of institutions that feel part of this process. And this is key for the use of this information to make decisions. Okay, so this is our family, the Drought Monitor family of Brazil. A lot of people involved, and we have some key players here. Here we have Nathan from the World Bank sit by my side in the floor, and he is in the meeting, by the way. And we have Marcos Loboda. I think Mario Lopez is not here, but there are a lot of people that were part of this event. Even also, we have the participation of Robert Stefanski, online participation. Yeah, it was really nice to have you there. And how this information is being used? Well, the information has been used at national level to decree water scarcity, water emergency for some basins, that the scale is compatible with the drought monitor, right? So the Paraná River Basin, we have some decrees by ANA on water emergency based on the drought monitor and also other informations like state levels or reservoir levels of the basin, okay? And also this information has been used by the National Civil Defense to trigger the water truck program for some municipalities that are in need of water for human consumption. Okay, so right now we are focused on the use of the information at the national level. It's the stakeholders, the users are conceiving their own way to take the information of the drought monitor and make decisions based on it. But when we go to the state levels, we have to work with these states. So the CEPAS, the center that I mentioned, is drawing through a framework in order to facilitate the setup of the contingency plans and responding planning for these states. And for each state, we have different issues. Like, for example, the 2023-2024 droughts in Amazon, the big issue was the transportation in the river was not possible because the rivers were completely dry. So we have isolated communities, food, medicines could not reach to the countryside, and the main state operations are concentrated in the capital of the states of the region. So there is a lot of issues related to the navigation constraints in these periods of drought. So we are adapting in discussion with the states of the different regions of the country how to set up a contingency planning based on the drought monitor or specific monitoring systems, depend on the case and the scale, to address the issues that we have on the ground. So we did a lot on hydro systems. We have water utility planning, rain-fed agriculture planning, and so on. And this counts a lot with co-construction concept, the participation of the communities, specifically when the systems are very local. So we come up with some serious games like this one here on the left, Drought in Play, to people realize how important and how their decisions impact others in the same basin. Okay, and we have to realize a few concepts that this planning is mainly they are sector specific, but they have some feedbacks to other sectors, and this is important to realize. If the focus is a managed system, the plan is also specific to that system, and like this Ruben system to supply water to Fortaleza and reservoir system to supply water to multiple users and so on. And for those that want to start this process, if they did not start, I would choose the case of studies really careful in order to have the most impact, positive impacts on those cases, because this will demonstrate the value of the plans. We were able to choose the best case here in my state. Now we have sustainable funding from the state and from federal agents to continue the work for other systems. And also build strategy with those already involved. This is also important. I'm talking more about the use of the information. And also we have to realize the monitor, the Brazilian monitor covers a large area. And there are some scale implications on that, how to use this information for small systems. Well, it will not, right? We have some scale constraints. And we do need to realize that and maybe set up a specific monitoring system depend on the scale that we have associated to the systems. And we need also, for those plannings, continual monitoring of its implementation. This is quite important as well. Well, as a final slide, I would like to share this one. We have a lot of challenges. We have to realize when setting up monitoring system, response planning, we have innovation limitations across different scales, at the state level, at the municipality level, at the community level. And the best system will be the one that could run with those limitations, right? Also, we have to fight a lot over the emphasis on the infrastructure solutions. People do not like, well, some decision makers do not put much effort on monitoring systems and decision-making systems. So we have to fight over this here in the South. Also, the policies are quite sector-based policies, and we have programs in silos, so it's quite a challenge to address these silo policies. Scales I already mentioned. We have financial constraints and territorial misalignment of those fundings, and sometimes we have to sell what is important to address some of the impacts that we have on the ground. We have a lot of other issues, but I will leave here just for the sake of the documentation. I think those for those that are interested in the solutions to address the drought impacts on the ground, it's quite important to realize the challenge for implementing them. Okay. Well, I'll finish here, and I'm open to address any questions that you have about the drought monitor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eduardo, for the presentation. I would like to now give the floor to Jason, and finally I will pass it back to Bob if we have time for the Q&A. I'm seeing that the chat is very active. Keep putting your questions in the chat. Just a reminder that you can also go to the IDMP help desk in case you have any questions or concern, or you need support with any drought related matter. We are gonna share the link in the chat soon. And yeah, thanks, Jason, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm Jason Kenyo, just developer working for ICPAC. And today, let me see, I hope you can see my screen. I have some funny characters over here. Yeah, sorry. So I work for ICPAC as a developer, and when I joined, I was tasked of improving this East Africa Drought Watch. This system was developed for East Africa region. And a brief introduction of what the system is. This is a public system. It is online, and you don't need anything to access it. The link is down here, droughtwatch.icpac.net. And the system is majorly for monitoring drought conditions of the East Africa region. It provides 10-day warnings for developing an actual drought event that is near real time, but also you can get a recovery phases. That is when you're recovering from drought conditions, you can get information on that. To attribute, this system although is maintained by ICPAC, and we regularly continue to improve it, but initially we borrowed or adopted the technology from a Joint Research Center of European Commission, and we borrowed the idea from the Global Observatory, which is still online, but we modified it first to customize it for East Africa region, but also improved it to meet the needs of the region. At the moment, the system is hosted at IGAN Disaster Operations Center. An IGAD Disaster Operations Center is a state-of-the-art situation room, which is tasked with providing a regional multi-hazard early warning system. A brief about that is that at IGAD Disaster Operations Center, we have so many other tools for monitoring several other hazards, drought being one of them. And on top of all these tools, we have East Africa Hazard Watch, which is some sort of a single interface for all hazards. Now, after East Africa Hazard Watch, we have Drought Watch, which is a special system focused on a specific disaster. This is how the transfer of the technology was like from a global drought observatory to East Africa Drought Watch. So you can see there is a glaring difference in the interface, the color coding, and almost everything, including the indicator. You can see on the left, we have more of a coarse resolution indicator, but when you come to the right, the resolution has increased. So those are some kind of customizations we did to make or adopt this system for the region. But besides, we kept the science and the technology, but changed the context and also improved this system and the indicators so that it addresses the unique needs of the region. So during this improvement, one is we engaged stakeholders and users of the system in the region to know what they would like. Also, we worked closely with national institutions for their feedback and inputs on what exactly they would like to see or what kind of information they want delivered. Also, we validated the drought monitor, that is the customized drought indicator with users and stakeholders in the government institutions. And we also continue to support the system and improve the data pipelines and workflows. We also harmonized this system with the early warning information that we have at ICPAC. This is the central indicator that we use for drought monitoring. We call it a combined drought indicator. And from the screen, this is the method, or the method that is used to derive this indicator. So first you start with anomalies in precipitation. And these anomalies, you take areas with dry conditions, and that gives you areas that you're supposed to watch. That is areas that are likely drying or have dried. And then we overlay this anomaly of precipitation with anomalies in soil moisture. And the intersection of the two gives a warning phase. And this warning phase means the dryness out of deficit in rainfall has led into soil moisture deficit. That is, I don't have enough soil moisture content. And then we finally intersect this with vegetation condition anomaly. And the intersection of this now gives the alert phase, which is the most dire phase of drought condition, and it means that the rainfall deficit caused shortness in soil moisture, which led to dryness or stress in vegetation condition. After that condition, it means now if it is about farmers, they are not going to harvest enough food, so there will be food shortage and malnutrition and other conditions will follow. If it's about pastoralism, there will be less feed for the livestock, and so associated problems will follow. So those are the three drought phases that we monitor: the watch, warning, and alert, and how we arrive at them. But also we look at recoveries, that is when you're coming from drought conditions to non-drought conditions. All this now gives us something we call convergence of evidence. It's enough you can also look at the precipitation and say we are seeing signs of drought. You can also look at the soil moisture and say we can see signs of drought. Likewise, you can look at the vegetation condition and talk of encroaching and drought conditions, but we don't do that. We look at all the three indicators to tell us the same story. So if all the three indicators converge into signs of drought, then more likely we are suffering drought. So that is what we mean with convergence of evidence. But beyond the science, we also look into social media. We also look into conversations in the mainstream media and see what if there are such kind of reports. For example, the National Institution is talking of some areas being affected by drought, or the media is reporting that animals are dying in some areas because of lack of feed, lack of water. Then if all these converge, then the better. So we have more evidence that this area is under drought. Then for the system, what can you do with the East Africa has a drought? Sorry. One is you can automatically get a report that you can also attach in your reports or as a PDF and share with the friends. Also, you can get visualizations of all these indicators that I mentioned, combined drought indicator, but also associated indicators, that is anomalies in precipitation, anomalies in soil moisture, and anomalies in vegetation condition, and other supportive and background data sets. You can visualize those on the map, or those. Then you can download all these maps as graphs, or also as maps that you can embed in your presentations or reports. Also, there are rich background layers that you can use to enrich your report. Also, you can generate analysis based on political or administrative boundaries, but also you can use watershed protected areas, or draw, or come with your own boundary of area of interest. You can also generate time series. That is, you can look at the formation of drought over a given period of time, no limit for that. Then during this adoption stage, we learned a number of things. As I said, we moved from Global Drought Observatory to version 1 of East Africa Drought Watch. Now we are on version 2.0 of East Africa Drought Watch, and we are working on a version 3 of the same system. And all this improvement involves lessons along the way. So one is in engaging the users and stakeholders. It's very keen, instrumental. Also, workflow integration comes as a priority. Also, as you continue improving and enhancing, there is a need to build the capacity of those people who are involved and using the system, but also improve the load capacity of your system so that they can handle the big data processing that might be involved. Looking in future, we are looking at scaling the system to national level. At the moment, we have it at the regional level. We're also looking at engaging more into research, and that is at the regional level, but also national level. And this is geared into improving the monitoring aspect of the system, but also improve the forecasting a bit. At the moment, we are doing more of monitoring. For the forecasting, we are using the climate forecast produced by ICPAC, but also we want to add more forecasts. At the moment, we are looking at precipitation forecast and temperature forecast, but it would be great to integrate also soil moisture forecast and vegetation condition forecast, and probably those one you are able to generate a forecast of the CDI, and this gives you know some good information to work with in terms of early warning and anticipated action. Also, we are looking into improving the system functionalities based on user needs and requests. We are also looking into on this version 3.0 that we are working on. We are going to integrate the anticipatory action that will involve now early warnings and early actions. Also add durations and triggers for these anticipatory actions, and leverage more on emerging and modern technologies. And all this will be possible through partnerships and collaboration. Thank you. Over.
Thank you so much, Jason, for your presentation, and thank you so much again to Fabian and Eduardo. We are running a little bit late with the schedule, but I've seen that the chat is super active. So to all the speakers, I'll invite you to just go through the questions in the chat and see which ones are referred to you. I will now pass the floor to Bob again for the next part of the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Beatrice. And again, all the presentations will be online. And also we'll share the chat, I think, messages as well, if we can do that. So we have 7 marketplace presentations. Really ask you to stay at 3 minutes. I think we'll have a timer. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Viola Ateneo from the African Union Commission, talking about the African Union's drought service and multi-stakeholder co-production process. I believe, James, you have the PowerPoint, or Viola, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Bob. Viola Ateneo from Africa Union, and for a 3-minute speech, we would like to talk to you about the Continental Drought Watch, work that is being done between Africa Union Commission, the UNDRR, and several other partners like CHIMA Foundation. So I would like to start by highlighting that for Africa, building resilience to drought is a development agenda. So today we want to show you what Africa Union is doing, which is underpinned by 3 key pillars. Next slide. And the 3 key pillars are, the first one is holistic approach for a complex systemic challenge. So we all understand and we all know and recognize that drought is a systemic hazard. We have a lot of cyclic droughts happening, but in most parts of the world, but for Africa, this always end up as emergencies. So Africa Union, recognizing this, is developing a holistic approach for complex systemic challenge, and we're using the iceberg to represent this. So the short-term drought impact is what you see. We're calling this the visible crisis. And then the long-term drought impacts is what you do not see, but this is the structural risks that then go ahead to exacerbate systemic vulnerabilities. So what Africa Union has done is develop this map you see on the right side of the screen, which combines long-term drought monitoring and short-term drought monitoring as well. And for the short-term drought, you're using compound drought indicator, which is very similar to what Jason has presented, which highlights meteorological and agricultural drought. And for the long term, we're using SPI 12, which shows us hydrological drought. Next slide. So we are saying that we want to move from hazard-based levels to action-oriented levels. So again, the map on the left side shows you severity of drought and the extent as well. So you have levels like moderate, severe, and extreme. But we all understand there is a gap between warning and action. And one of the reasons why we have this gap is that it's never very clear who should act and what should be done. So Africa Union, in trying to move this from hazard level to action-oriented level, has developed the map map that you see on the right side of the screen, which in addition to combining long-term drought impacts, also highlights the level as well. So you have level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. And for each level, we've developed a methodology that then shows who should act. Is it at subnational level, national, regional, or continental as well? Next slide. And I think the basis of our work is collaborative development. So we're looking at co-design, co-development, co-production of the products, but also advancement of the product as well. So this involves regular coordination and co-production meetings. We have an interim co-production group that is guiding the development steps, and each institutions define the roles it's going to play in building the service. And the shared objectives are to integrate scientific knowledge, expert judgment, and local data, facilitate transboundary coordination, and foster institutional ownership and shared responsibility. And below the photo, we have shared some of the institutions that were present in the most recent co-production meeting we had in Kampala. Next slide. So thank you very much. We have shared our contacts as well. You can reach us. And to subscribe to the product, which is a monthly product, you can scan the QR code. And once you have the presentation, you can also click on the link below it to subscribe to the service. Once again, thank you very much, Robert, for the opportunity.
Of course, Yola, and thank you so much for all the good work. And just to note, there's a timer on the upper right corner of the screen, just to guide the speaker on the time, and there's a buzzer at the end. Next, we have Elena Cantonia from GMB Innovating Solutions, talking about South African drought monitoring. Elia, over to you and the presentation.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm ready. So yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me here. I'm working at GMV, which is a very large technological company. So if you go to the next slide, please. As you have in the right top side of the slide, it's a huge company working on very different topics on aerospace mainly, and I'm belonging to the Earth Observation Division, and more specifically to the Water Resources team. So here you have a map of the different countries that we have worked on in water resources topics, and different icons for the tops of the topics covering floods, droughts, and groundwater. And as you can see, we work mainly in data scarce regions because Earth observation is where it's more valuable at the end of the day. Most of our projects are funded by ESA, and we also collaborate very largely with the World Bank and other IFIs like the Asian Development Bank or IFAD. Next slide, please. So I want to talk to you about one of these projects that it was called ANIN. It was funded by ESA, and it was a drought project, a drought monitoring project in South Africa. So the aim was to set up an operative drought monitoring system. Here you have the list of all the drought indicators that we developed throughout the project. It's the ones that have been mentioned throughout all the presentations of today. And we see that we work through all the components of the drought, from meteorological, agricultural, and hydrological. For hydrological, in this case, we used both the standardized groundwater index with in situ measurements and the standardized streamflow index as well with in situ measurements. And then all this data, all the operational data were used to set up a seasonal forecast. And what I wanted to strengthen here in the lower part of the slide, it was that there was a very huge stakeholder relationship and engagement component to this project. Unfortunately, in this case was the South African Space Agency and the Department of Water and Sanitation. And I just wanted to add that we are still in touch nowadays, working with them in another project. And this system, it's still set up, not fully operational, but it's on the pipes and hopefully will be useful to them very soon. Next slide, please. Here is a little example of the different components and drought indicators that we calculated for South Africa. from meteorological to agricultural, and the ones with in situ measurements that I was mentioning that are related to the hydrological and hydrogeological components. But of course, you see in the little black dots are the observational points, the monitoring points. Sorry, I'm going to be very fast. We realized of the limitation, of course, of data availability. So next slide, please. We've developed the hydrogeological drought index based on GRACE data. That means on Earth observation data to be able to cover all the worldwide without depending on observations. This is some work we did with ISA in Botswana, and we are currently implementing it in South Africa in a World Bank project. And with this, we can go to the next slide, that I'm just thanking you all for inviting us and your time. And I'm sharing the contact of my colleague and myself in case anyone is interested to get in touch with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elia. Very good. Very excellent. Next, we'll go to Antonio Magdalez from the Center for Strategic Studies and Management. Antonio's an old friend and colleague. He actually was instrumental in helping us organize the first national meeting on national drought, high-level meeting on national drought policies. Antonio, I think you have no slides. You just want to present on the ICID. Antonio? I saw you online.
Can you hear me now?
We hear you now, Antonio. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure to be here. I want to talk about the third international conference. It's a conference on climate, sustainability, and development in dry regions. The idea is to get together with scientists and policymakers from all over the world to prepare and to make a statement to be taken to the COP30 of the UNFCCC. The COP30 will be held in Belém, in Brazil, in the Amazon. And so far, the agenda of COP30 is based basically on the rainforests. So we intend to bring the case of the dry regions that cover 45% of the world, and to discuss that and to take that to the agenda of COP30. The themes of the conference will be climate, impacts, sustainability, development, and adaptation and mitigation. And we want to have case studies on development to show that it's possible to make the development of semi-arid and dry regions in the world. So the objective of this talk is to invite everyone to come to Fortaleza, Brazil. It will be in Fortaleza from 14 to 19 of September. If you need further questions, please email me. I am the director of the conference. So the email is rmagalalhaes armagalhães@gmail.com. And if you need more information on the conference, please go to the webpage of the conference. It's www.3ICID, the letter I, CID, 3ICID, CGEE dot 3ICID dot CGEE.org.br. BR is Brazil. Thank you very much. I hope I was in time.
You were in time, Antonio Abrigado, and maybe we'll connect sometime again. Thank you.
Thank
Bob,
you.
I just wrote what Antonio.
In the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Eduardo. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you so much. Okay, next, another quick presentation from Brazil. I'd like to introduce Luis Andrana Quartes from CEMADEN, the National Center for Monitoring and Early Warning of Natural Disasters. And you're talking about Brazil's hydrological drought monitoring and forecasting system. Luis, after you, please.
Thank you, Rob. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present our drought risk monitoring system developed at CEMADEN. Next, please. Here is our monitoring timeline. And in 2012, we launched drought monitoring in Brazil's semi-arid regions. By 2014, we expanded to the Cantareira water supply system in São Paulo, and also for some basins upstreams of hydropower reservoirs. And in 2017, we expanded for all Brazil. Our system integrates multiple data sources and indicators to track droughts across different regions and sectors. Next, please. Next, this flow chart shows our system very briefly. We primarily use two indices. The Integrated Drought Index, developed at CEMADEN, combines precipitation, soil moisture, and vegetation data. It focuses on short-term drought impacts, such as agriculture and wildfires risks. And the second one is the two-variate standardized index that combines precipitation and stream flow data, and is used to monitor long-term drought impacts on water resources. Next, please. And this is the map that shows the integrated drought index for this 1 and 3 month time scale, but we use also 6 months time scales. Next one, please. And here is how this indicator helps identify drought impacts on agriculture areas. We also use this in a federal response in indigenous territories most affected by droughts last year. And it has also been used in the WMO State of Climate reports for Latin America. Next, please. And here is the two-variate standardized index that we apply in 38 river basins that were crucial for water supply, hydropower generation, and also for river transport. We are working to expand its use across the country. Next, please. The Integrated Drought Index also support public policies. One key use is identify municipalities where family farmers may have lost crops to drought, allowing emergency payments and relief action. Next, please. Very quickly. This is our platform that where all data and maps are made available. Next, please. And all our information is shared in the SEMADEN's websites and in our regular meetings with institutions at local, regional, and national level. Next, please. Here are our comments. Thank you very much.
Liz, thank you so much. Thank you for that overview of SEMADEN's work. Our next speaker, I'm not sure if he's online, Mr. Makbana from Mtende Foundation in Malawi. If you are not online, can you raise your hand? Let's give it 10 seconds or so. Are you online? Mr. Mwakbanga from Mtende Foundation, Malawi. Okay, we will then continue to the next speaker. Is Matteo Zampieri from the University of King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in Saudi Arabia. And Matteo is going to talk about the innovative drought indicator. Matteo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks everybody for organizing this. So I will talk about a new concept for drought monitoring. Next slide, please. So the idea is basically to exploit a physical process that is the physical parameter actually that is the thermal heat capacity. In a simple case like this, depicted in the figure, is very simple. It's just the amount of energy that you need to raise the temperature of a body of 1 degree. Next slide, please. For the land surface is much more complex because it's not an isolated body. So what happens during the day is that what the sun is heating is not only the surface, but is also the air above and also the soil below. And the surface is cooled down by different processes. And so actually, if we try to measure the heat capacity from satellite, for instance, what we see is not the heat capacity of the surface, but it is of the entire system. Anyway, in any case, what we all know is that in dry condition, the soil warms up more than compared to the wet condition, because the heat capacity, the apparent heat capacity, we call it, is larger. So the cooling efficiency of the wet soil is larger than the cooling efficiency of a dry soil. Next slide, please. So we developed an indicator that measures the cooling efficiency of the soil, and this is how it looks like in the long term. As you can expect, is much larger in a humid area with a lot of vegetation, because you need more radiation to warm up those areas, and it is much lower in deserts and in dry soils, because you need much less radiation to warm up this soil. But what is more interesting is how it varies with time, and because it is with this that we can develop the drought indicator. Next slide, please. And this is how this indicator compares with NDVI anomaly. So these maps are a linear correlation of the C5, the cooling efficiency factor index, what we are proposing, and then the stress factor and the evaporative fraction of other more complex data sets. That is the variable that we can compare the most. And as you see, we have similar results, especially in dry area, not in deserts, because NDVI doesn't make much sense, and also not much in very humid area in northern latitude, but it is comparable with GLIM and with ERA5, whereas TerraClim is a bit of an outsider here. An advantage of this new indicator is that it is much higher resolution. In the current form is 5 kilometers. And okay, this is all I got for this time, and maybe next time I will speak more about this. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Matteo. And I'm assuming we can also share your presentation with the group. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay. In fact, that goes with everybody, but we'll make sure we will confirm this with all the speakers. But a lot of interest from your talk, Matteo.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, we go to Marcela de Souza from the Watershed Organization Trust in India. Marcelo, would you like to make a few words, or you just want to show the video?
I'll begin with a few words. Thank you for inviting me. I'd like to say that while the Indian Meteorological Department is mandated with giving us the information and data with regard to the drought conditions, it is left to the rest of us to see how do we address the issues of drought in the country. So one of the important things we do is to assess the villages in the different communities. We use a tool called Nature Pro, which helps us to assess the resilience of the villages to the various climatic conditions, and based on that to build it up. I would now like to show the video, please.
Drought.
Thank you, Marcela, for that very interesting video. Thank you for sharing. And next, we are going to go to Gabrielle Lambert from the UNCCD Secretariat to talk about the International Drought Resilience Observatory. Gabrielle, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for the invitation and the opportunity to present the International Drought Resilience Observatory. There is a video that will be screened to you, and I will speak for 30 seconds after that. So could you please share the video?
Drought is a global risk. It is one of the deadliest disasters, affecting 1 in 4 people across the world, leading to financial losses exceeding $124 billion. But the good news is that building drought resilience allows decision makers to anticipate, prepare, and adapt from the impacts of drought. Critical insights are emerging on drought resilience. However, data and information remains fragmented and scattered, preventing access for a wide range of stakeholders. This is why we are building IDRO, an International Drought Resilience Observatory. The proposal to establish IDRO emerged from the International Drought Resilience Alliance, IDRA, led by Spain, Senegal, and over 60 countries and organizations. IDRO is a revolutionary information platform that bridges the gap between experts and decision makers. Our goal is to connect data and science with action, providing actionable insights that are scientifically grounded and tailored to local contexts. IDRO allows stakeholders to analyze their own data and information in a secure and private environment, integrating social and ecological resilience indicators that are made accessible through various data analytic tools. With COP16 in Riyadh this December, there is a real momentum to launch IDRO, to shift from reactive to proactive drought management. This international recognition will elevate drought resilience and land degradation neutrality on the global political agenda. We will feature some of IDRO's wide range of functionalities, from searching for key drought resilience indicators to interactive maps, data visualizations, and AI-driven insight, as well as a series of dashboards that will offer quick snapshots for easy assessment and comparison. At COP16, we will launch IDRO, starting Phase 1. This begins an impactful journey, ensuring stakeholder engagement and deploying comprehensive features and resilience data. An alliance of potential stakeholders is underway to develop IDRO. Join us and let's anticipate, prepare, and adapt from drought together.
Yeah, thank you very much. So as you've seen, this video has been prepared for the last UNCCD COP. So now just to inform you that we are entering in the second phase of development of the Drought Observatory. This follows the UNCCD framework on drought, and what was being presented in Riyadh was a prototype. So we are entering in the second phase of development that will push forward the 4 case studies that have been started to be developed, and using a drought resilience index that will be further developed in close collaboration with our partners that contributed to the first phase. It will be centered around the 3 dimensions that are prepared, anticipate, and adapt, and develop different categories and indicators that will be pulled into a drought resilience index. This tool will also be complemented by an AI analytic tools, and it will provide guidance to decision makers and also additional information for a large spectrum of general public. It is in coordination with the Riyadh Global Drought Resilience Partnership that has been announced also in the last UNCCD COP. And we are looking forward for the final, let's say, tool presentation that will be happening in the next UNCCD COP in Mongolia next year. Thank you very much for your attention, and looking forward to present it more once everything will be done. Over to you.
Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you for that announcement on IDRO. Very good. Yeah. So with that, colleagues, we're only about, actually only 4 minutes over. So actually we timed it quite well. We want to quickly, first of all, I want to thank all the speakers for the 3 main talks that we had. Viola, Elena, Fabia, Eduardo, and Jason, and of course our 7 or 8 marketplace colleagues. We find this very useful to quickly talk about what's going on. So if, we could show the results of the poll, Ev, on the question we asked earlier. Curious to see what the results are. So people want to learn about machine learning and AI. Data is not so high. Impact-based monitoring is second. Then user-centered design, co-design is third. So very interesting. We'll share this as well. We want to thank you. And also, I don't know if you have a slide, but Valentine will put this in the chat. Again, we can continue these discussions at the IDMP Community of Practice website. And there we go. Valentine put it in the chat. Also, there are a lot of questions on the chat. You can please also put those questions, either go to the IDMP website, ask a help desk question, or start a discussion, and we'll get back to you if you have a specific question for us. I know everybody is busy. Thank you. We did this in an hour and 36 minutes. So again, thank all the presentations and thank all the people behind the scenes, WMO and GWP. Greatly appreciated to make a very smooth running virtual exchange. We'll keep you informed. Colleagues, have a very good week at end of the month, and we'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.